Batman. 'Cause that's
This
it.
commercial both for Batman and for our podcast is just, why does Batman get a day? Because he's Batman. End call. And it's over.
Why should you listen to this? Because he's Batman. Wait, that doesn't even make sense. Just please listen to us. Batman would.
You should listen to
he's
us
Batman.
because I'm Batman. Because you're Batman. And Kevin's Batman. We're all Batman.
There's a Batman in all of us.
There is a little bit of Batman in all of us. That's exactly it.
I see it in my wife sometimes. I was like, hey, that's something Batman would do.
We're human. Batman's human. I mean,
That just made the pool that much smaller.
let's just talk Batman for like 30 minutes, and we'll be good. Because you know we're going to get there. You know we're going to get there.
I usually start these things. You can start us off, sir.
Man, listen. Here's the thing about Batman. Here's why Batman really deserves a day. Okay? The man has lost so freaking much. Okay? That man is literally... He's lost at least every single one of his sons.
At least once.
At least once. All four of his adopted children. Well, 3 adopted children and 1 biological child. All of them have died. Damian deserved it. But anyway.
Wow. It's okay. I'm on your side.
Listen, you kill Dick Grayson, you never come back in my good graces. I don't care which multiverse version of you does it. You kill Dick Grayson, you're done. I don't care about multiverse shenanigans when it comes to Dick Grayson. And you got Alfred killed, so that's another
also horrible.
strike in the box. And then you got yourself captured trying to save Alfred, which was what got Alfred killed, and then got yourself killed.
Yes, Damian is a bucket of... We'll talk about him one day. We really will. Damian, unfortunately, still deserves his own conversation.
Damian does deserve his own conversation. It won't be a good conversation.
If we bring Kevin, he can Last Jedi it and hold
The
that.
The crazy thing is, he does like Damian.
That's what I said. The Last Jedi, man.
Because remember, we were supposed to do that. We were planning that Robin talk, and he's the one that's got to talk about Damian.
He happily took Damian. I was like, wow.
He chose Damian. We didn't even leave him with Damian. He chose Damian. But then again, people would say the same thing about me and choosing Stephanie. But
Stephanie deserves a little more love than Damian.
Stephanie deserves a lot of love, especially because she was both Robin. She was Robin for Bruce for a very short stint, but she was Robin for Bruce. And then, because she felt so bad for him, she became Robin for Damian. Because every Batman should have a Robin, and nobody was taking him seriously as Batman. So, she became his Robin. Instead of staying, spoiler, feet Christmas mug.
That's awesome. We were inside of Hobby Lobby today, and we went all through the Christmas section. It was really nice.
Damn, the Christmas section is September. That's wild.
Everything was 50% off. I wasn't complaining.
Where are the Halloween sections at now?
Hobby Lobby.
Not Hobby Lobby. They're too Christian.
That's wild.
I saw some.
You know who would support a Halloween section at Hobby Lobby?
Batman.
Batman.
I think it's crazy that I'm sure maybe there's a story, but how Gotham still allows Halloween.
That is a good question. Like, because Gotham can't be safe for trick or treating. It can't be.
Gotham isn't safe for living, period. So why would trick or treating be any different?
Well, that's not entirely true. It's not that bad. Batman keeps things relatively under wraps,
Because of our crazy man in a bat costume, it's safe to live in Gotham. It's safer to live in Gotham. Batman and all his children. All his many, many children.
Batman's got a big family, the Bat family.
I'm glad that he develops a Bat family because for a while
it was
just Batman. It was Batman, Jim Gordon, Alfred, and it's cool. Then we got a Robin in. I'm like, cool. Then it continues Robin, and some people don't enjoy that there's so many Robins, but I love that he has developed from the loner to have a family that I look after, and if you touch any of them, I'll like search the multiverse to end your life. But he won't kill you. He'll just be worse.
Yeah, he'll make your life significantly worse. Because, I mean, he didn't kill Thomas, and he didn't kill Bane.
He should have.
They killed Alfred.
There are certain lines you're not supposed to cross.
And what's wild about that is, right, Thomas Wayne had an Alfred. How did Thomas Wayne get past that in his head?
I guess Thomas wasn't as connected.
To be like, I'll let Bane kill Alfred. That's fine.
As long as it stops my son from being the Batman.
Right. It's crazy how many stories there are about people wanting Batman to stop being Batman because they care about him, but it doesn't go the way that they want it to because it ends up hurting him more in the end.
Yeah, just let him be Batman. That's his destiny. Batman is Batman. I like in Dark Knight's Metal, it's like a multiversal pillar type idea of the Bat, and he is that totem, and he's just important. Like, you need a Batman for the multiverse to continue to spin, which is crazy that one human man has that much influence on the greater everything.
The Trinity has like such a huge, but mostly Batman.
Yeah, and that's crazy because you would assume, oh, it's Superman. Batman.
I mean, in the dark multiverse, it's definitely not going to be Superman. It's definitely not Superman. But it's just crazy to think about how many people just don't want Batman to be Batman.
Which is
like
sad.
In his life. Like the entire wedding arc between him and Catwoman was all, I know it was sad. Because she knew that he couldn't be happy and be Batman. Which is a wild concept.
We could talk about the King run. You keep bringing up Tom King's Batman run. We could just talk about stuff in that.
Man. Because Damian pisses me off. And most of that run is a combination of Thomas Wayne's fault and Damian's fault.
I like how one of the few things I can give the Bendis run, I enjoy how high of a regard it holds John Kent. Jor-El is he's definitely the one in the wrong the entire time, but they don't diminish John with having Jor-El around, and I enjoy that.
Well, Jor-El wasn't even really a villain for most of it. I mean, he does some pretty shady shit, but he's not really the bad guy.
Correct.
He's not Superman's main opposition. Whereas in the King run, Thomas Wayne is the main opposition. He just straight up uses Bane.
I can give the Tom King run, I enjoy it, but I think it has a really strong start. The letter thing with Flash and Batman.
The button.
Yes, the button. It's one of the coolest and most intriguing starts to a Batman run. Because I have the Snyder run. I also love the Snyder run of Batman. But I think this opening is the button is such a cool idea of, oh, my dad from a dying alternate universe sent me a note, wrote me a note personally, and it says, stop doing the one thing that gives my purpose in life. Of the mental battle of that throughout the King run, I enjoy. I like Gotham and Gotham Girl. I like that entire arc. I think Gotham Girl is a really cool addition to the mythos, or those two characters, and how Batman thought that he'd be able to retire if he could teach these two guys to be awesome superheroes, but then it doesn't turn out. I barbecue sauce-fry them with Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce in my pantry.
I sometimes use Sweet Baby Ray's. I also like Sticky Fingers. Another plug. We're doing commercials and not even getting paid for them. This is crazy.
It is crazy. Oh, wait. Star Wars, Disney, please.
Please do better. Let me find something Batman. Hold on.
I have a Batman thing over here.
James Gunn, please don't fuck up Batman.
I believe in him. I enjoyed the Guardians things enough, and I think the Suicide Squad movie is not for me, but it is a very well put together movie.
I like the Suicide Squad movie, but I'm cautiously optimistic with James Gunn taking over everything. Because there are decisions being made that are good decisions, right? And there are decisions being made that I'm not necessarily a fan of. Because, like, Nathan Fillion being cast as Guy Gardner instead of clearly being cast as the Green Lantern he should have always been, which is Hal Jordan.
He's going to make a very funny Guy Gardner.
But Guy is supposed to be, like, angry. Guy's not supposed to necessarily be... I've never seen Nathan Fillion play a character that was just angry for no reason. So I have no reason to believe that he can do this.
Are you okay, little man? My cat's freaking out.
Now, one of the good decisions that unfortunately didn't pan out,
The Josh Brolin thing?
the Josh Brolin thing.
I thought that was like a rumor, and then I saw that. I was like, we almost had Josh Brolin as Hal Jordan.
Yes, and apparently the runners-up are Ewan McGregor and there's some other really good choice. A lot of people are saying that in order to save Armie Hammer's career, that they need to give it to Armie Hammer.
I think I'd like it more as Ewan McGregor. You'd have a lot of fun with that.
I think Ewan McGregor would be a good he'd be a good Kyle, I feel like.
I think he's a little old to be Kyle. I think he would make a good Kyle if he was a little younger.
He doesn't look that old though. Like if you look at recent photos or iterations of, like, for example, look at Black Mask. When he played Black Mask, he did not look that old.
Oh, yes, in the Harley Quinn movie.
Birds of Prey, yeah.
One fantabulous emancipation of, I don't know.
I never watched it, but...
I watched it. I think Margot Robbie is the best part of that movie. Back to Batman, Adam.
I'm just saying. You know, we got off topic because I was like, James Gunn, please don't screw up Batman.
I'm very curious because the version of Batman he showed in his slideshow, he's been very deliberate with pictures he's shown, was a version of Batman and Damian Wayne, but it would have been Dick Grayson as Batman. So I'm like, is Batman even going to be the real Batman in this movie? Is Bruce Wayne going to be the real Batman in this movie?
That'd be interesting. To start out with Dick as Batman, that would be a very interesting choice, especially with how much fans have wanted to see Nightwing.
Mm-hmm.
To just skip over Nightwing and just be like, here's Dick Grayson as Batman, and it's like, no, although in an interesting twist in the comics, we're getting ready to get Bruce Wayne as Nightwing, so
yes, in Nightwing, there's a gap in my run reading because I don't have DC Comics right now, DC Universe, and I started getting it physically, and I just read. It was the most enjoyable thing that I got out of my pull list. That's not true. World's Finest was also really, really fun. World's Finest was incredible.
I need to read the most recent World's Finest because
it's so
I've
much
heard
fun.
such amazing things.
I think the art's really good. The Batman Superman dynamic is incredible. It is truly like they are brothers. Like they treat each other. It feels most of the time Batman is the older brother. And great dynamics. Whenever Superman is flying and carrying Batman like is like standing straight and he's just holding him by his arm, like his armpits, and they're like having casual conversation, and that was hilarious. They really hype up Hal Jordan in this run because I think he's mind controlled, but something happens and something happens and he has to fight Batman and Superman, and Batman and Superman realize they cannot beat Hal Jordan because of how powerful his will is, because as long as his will is cranking, his Green Lantern ring can produce it.
Right, because he's the only one that doesn't need to recharge.
Which is insane. They call them Green Lanterns, and the lantern is their battery.
But Hal don't need that shit.
Superman and Batman physically have to fuse to defeat Hal Jordan. And after that, I was like,
that's wild. Fusion dance?
Yes. Their costume's really cool. The design's really cool. But it just gave so many stocks to Hal Jordan Green Lantern as to this is the reason why he's a Justice Leaguer. This is the reason why he is as like the best Green Lantern. He is able to stand up to Batman and Superman
at the same time.
Yes, like they could not beat him. I need to read more older Green Lantern because my depiction of Green Lantern is fairly skewed. I've read a bulk of Jeff Johns stuff, but that was back in like 2017, 2018, and
damn, you were late to the New 52.
I was late to the New 52. I was casually into comics, and then a certain lady I was dating broke up with me, and then I got really into DC. And then a couple years down the line, I married that lady. So
Fair enough.
yeah, it's Jeff Johns and like the later New 52 stuff, where what I was describing to you as to why I want the other guy to play him that you didn't like that's just I can't remember his name, but that's just the personality of Green Lantern I've seen. And the version of Green Lantern I've heard you describe to me, I'm like, I don't see him very often.
Oh, you're talking about Glenn Powell.
Yes.
Because you were basing it off of Top Gun.
Yes.
And
twisters.
And that's not the version of Hal that I've ever seen. He can be super snarky, but at the end of the day, he's not wrong in his snarkiness. When Hal Jordan says, oh yeah, I can do that, like I can take care of this, 9 times out of 10, he can take care of it. He's fine.
I feel like the one time are things out of his control. Like there's some space creature possessing somebody, and that's the one reason he can't defeat them. Like I feel closer to 10 times out of 10, he could probably handle a situation.
So this is the main reason why I picture Hal in such a high regard. Like even before, the can hold his own against Batman and Superman at the same time. This man went fist to fist with Mongol in space without the use of his lantern ring because of the fact that the lantern ring can't affect anything yellow, and Mongol is yellow. Man went hand-to-hand combat with Mongol and came out on top. That's built different at that point. You're just like, there's Green Lanterns and then there's Hal Jordan. I don't care how many times you become evil, like you're still the Green Lantern. Like you may have been parallaxed like 6 times and decided to go off and create an evil Green Lantern Corps and do all these other things. Which realistically, technically speaking, he was the 3rd choice for Green Lantern when he was chosen anyway. Because to plug back to Batman and Superman, when the ring first came to Earth, it first went looking for Superman, realized that Superman wasn't a native of Earth, then went to Batman. And was like, Batman's dark as shit. Yeah. Batman says no to pretty much any form of even when he was trained in some forms of magic by Zatanna's dad, he was trained and he can't do magic because magic takes a toll. Like when you do magic,
it costs something.
It costs something. Emotionally, physically, whatever. Batman has nothing left to give up. Batman has nothing to give to get that power.
There's Chip Zdarsky wrote it. It's called The Knight, Batman the Knight, and it's his training to become Batman. Like all the people he went to that trained him, and then he became Batman at the end of the story. He goes to Zatanna's father, and they have the exact same conversation. And then instead of there's nothing left he has to give up, the thing he would have had to give up was the eternal quest he has to avenge his parents, to make sure no child has to go through what he goes through. Like, it would be to give up everything that has driven him to this point in time. And Batman's like, oh, I can't do that. And I'm like, that's really cool. But yes, I really like that. And it just shows how strong of a character Batman is. Like, he's not doing this because he's rich. He's not doing this because he's egotistical. He's arrogant. He's intelligent. There are all these reasons that you can give him for going on this crusade. But at the end of the day, it's just he genuinely wants to make Gotham a better place. He genuinely wants to make sure that nobody suffers and encounters the same thing he does. So he will do everything in his power to make sure his home can be a safer place for others. And he's just such an incredible character.
He's Batman.
He's Batman. Batman.
Because even if you look over the entire history of Batman, he's been offered abilities. He's been offered things to give him an edge. And a lot of the time he says no.
I think that's another cool thing in my brain for the Dark Multiverse variants of the Batmen, because each one of those Bat characters do accept the power up, and once they show up, they are a billion times worse of a problem than any of the, like, there's a Doomsday version of Batman There's the Batman with the Green Lantern ring. There's an Aquaman version of Batman. Like, each one of them accepted it, and they're still Bruce Wayne. So they were already a problem, but now they're a non-omnipotent problem.
Right, and that's I know what the name is of the Doomsday one. He's called the Destroyer. I can't remember what the other ones. They all have names.
Yeah, each one. I think it's the Drowned, the Destroyer, Batman Who Laughs, etc. And another great thing is that Superman is the symbol for hope, but the next best thing to this literal deity-like figure is Batman. No one has more hope in his soul than Batman. Batman does this every single day, hoping that it'll be better for Gotham.
Right. And you think of Batman as like this vengeful person, and it's like, no, he's probably the second most hopeful person in the universe. Because he does it hoping that things will change.
Yes, which is a big reason why he doesn't kill his characters. Also, he just doesn't kill people, but at the same time, like, he hopes. And it's such a thin line to like work through in your brain, like a mental exercise of he will not kill the Joker no matter what. Like, recently I read The Dark Knight Returns I read The Dark Knight Returns, and at the end Batman does not kill the Joker kills himself. Batman paralyzed the Joker, and then Joker through sheer will was able to twist the rest of his neck. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, no matter the person, he wants to not have to do the thing that takes away the hope. Like, he hopes you can be better. He hopes Joker can be rehabilitated, etc.
And then the Joker just takes it that one step further and is just like, well.
But yeah.
The fact that the Joker went into retirement when Batman did was kind of crazy too. Like, that whole aspect of The Dark Knight Returns where, like, the Joker is now an upstanding citizen, wears a suit, doesn't wear the makeup anymore, like, all these things. And then the minute he finds out Batman's back, it's like, oh, I guess I'm back too.
Old habits die hard.
I guess it's time to come back to Gotham. Like, I guess it's time to start killing again.
But yeah, there's a hope angle of Batman's character. I've said this in an old podcast episode with Kevin. We were talking about Kevin Conroy and how Kevin Conroy was rest in peace, was a classically trained actor, and he was able to relate Bruce Wayne's character to the average Grecian tragedy. And I'd never even thought about it like that, but Batman is like, if you wrote the story of Batman during Grecian times, I assure you it would be with like Homer works, like the Iliad, Odyssey, stuff like that, because there's nothing more Grecian than the ongoing tragedy of someone who wants to make the world a better place after his world was taken from him. He was forced into something
that he didn't want to be a part of.
That he didn't want to be, and every day against better judgment, he continues to try and make the world a better place. Like,
right, because that's like one of the biggest differences between Batman and Superman is Superman, he fights not necessarily just to make the world a better place, but he does what he does because he can. So he feels that obligation. Batman does what he can and what he does so that he can stop doing it eventually. Batman's entire struggle is so that he can stop struggling. Superman's entire struggle is to keep other people from struggling. Batman's entire struggle is to keep both himself and everyone else from struggling.
He's a great character.
And one of the best. One of the greatest.
One of the greatest.
Because nobody is as motivated as Batman.
That's true.
Except for the Joker in the opposite way.
Yeah. But that's influenced by Batman.
Right. And I mean, we've seen it in the comics where, like, Superman can be just as dangerous with or without his powers. Like, he still can hold his own.
Yeah.
But again, that's because of Batman. Like, the people that train Superman to fight even, like, without his powers are Batman and Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman doesn't have near the push that Superman or Batman have, because Wonder Woman has no issues dropping motherfuckers.
That's one of the coolest things about her character.
She has no issues killing people. No issues. She is a warrior, and she will wreck your world.
She does what must be done.
Honestly, and I think this is kind of like an unpopular opinion of mine, but honestly, I never felt like Superman was the main antagonist or the main, even like really a main character in Injustice. The entirety of that war was fought between Wonder Woman and Batman. Well, early on in the Injustice comics, because I've read all of them, I've read all of Injustice 1 and Injustice 2. I haven't read Injustice Year Zero yet, but I'm working on it. I'm just waiting on all of it to drop on DC Universe. Because when I started it, they only had like 4 issues on there, and I read all 4 of those.
Mm-hmm.
But there were so many times at the beginning where Superman was like, I really don't think I should be doing this. And Batman was like, yeah, you shouldn't be. And Batman was like, there was a good point at the beginning of Injustice in the comics where Superman was at a crossroads where he was like, it was right after he killed the Joker, and he's like, Batman's like, you can come back from this. Like, this can just be one and done. Like, it could be a mistake. You don't have to double down.
Yeah.
And then Wonder Woman is just kind of like, no, we need to double down. We need to kill all of them. Just every single one of them. Just dead. DED dead. Done. All of them need to die.
Superman sitting down, like, really mulling over everything he's done. And in the background, Wonder Woman's just, like, getting her armor ready. Just, like, getting ready for what must be done.
Exactly. That's exactly how it was. Because, like, he's still grieving Lois, which is why he killed Joker. And then she just uses his grief to not only further her goals of no more villains, not only to do that, but also to seduce Superman because Lois is no longer in her way.
That's true.
So she becomes extremely happy that Lois is no longer in the picture, even though, like, Superman even yells at her. Superman's like, my wife just died with my unborn child. I was getting ready to be both a dad. Like, I was getting ready to be a dad. And you over here thinking that I'm going to move on in like 2 seconds. No, woman. Leave me alone.
That was my life. I'm pretty sure there is a what if, basically, of what if Superman hadn't done everything or started towards the regime. And it's basically Batman kills the Joker before he is able to do what he does to Superman. And then he turns himself in as Bruce Wayne to make sure that Superman never went over the deep end, because he was like, they need you more than they need me. And I was like, oh my gosh.
It's Injustice Year 4, issue 22.
I'll take your word. I don't know.
I'm like 95% sure, because that is one of my favorite issues of Injustice, is because of the fact that, like, so they're able to save Lois. It's not that Joker doesn't do it. It's they're able to stop Superman before he ends up killing Lois.
Mm-hmm.
And they're able to stop the Joker and all these things. Batman's finally like, well, you crossed the line going after him. Like, I don't care when you go after me or the people in my city, but you went after him. And you went after him personally. You didn't just go after him in your normal way.
There was a plan.
Exactly. And then, Batman wasn't going to, like, he was just going to turn the Joker in just regular. And then the Joker decides to make a comment, well, I wanted to play our little game on easy mode for once.
That's crazy.
And see how Superman would respond. I wanted to play our game on easy mode, and that was when Batman was just like, snapped his neck right there in the Batmobile. Brought the dead body to the police and turned himself in. And then, even after all that, Superman visits Bruce in prison. He's like, with good behavior. And he's like, I'm not behaving well in here. I'm beating everybody up every day. I am fighting so many people. There is no good behavior for me. And Superman's like, well, just say the word and we'll walk out of here right now. Because, so before that happens, Superman is so moved by the fact that Bruce killed the Joker for him that, like, he has to give Batman a hug. So he just walks through the wall. Like, you know how the booths are set up in prison?
Yes.
You have one person on one side and they have the phone? Superman just walks straight through the wall. No fucks are given. Just Wall is no more, and gives Batman a hug, and he's like, listen, you say the word, and we walk out of here right now. And Batman's just like, I need to do this. I need to serve my time because I did this.
Yeah, he broke his oath. He broke the one thing he wasn't gonna do.
I killed somebody. I committed a crime. I need to be here.
And that's another just strength for his character. Superman said, "All right, I'll cover you." Who are they gonna say no to Superman? No, we can go. But he's pure-hearted. Batman he's a dark knight.
Batman has such strength of character. He's what it really means to be a hero.
Adam, I kind of like it. I kind of like that as a stopping point. That's a really great way to round it all together. If you have any finishing points, is any last few things you want to say about Batman?
Just he's the epitome of hero. When you've got Superman, this literal god of a man, looking up to you, and you're just a human.
You must be doing something right.
Exactly. You gotta be. Because even among all of these strong people, all of these powerful people, you still have the strength of character to call them out when they fuck up, knowing full well that they could run you through in 2 seconds.
There's a Justice League moment where they're all trying to turn themselves in for something, and they call Batman to also turn himself in, and he's like, I have nothing to be guilty of. He's like, if you guys feel guilty, go ahead and turn yourselves in, something like that.
No, it was similar to that. It was
my brain really small.
So pretty much what happens in that episode is Lex Luthor from the ground sets off the space cannon on the watchtower.
Yep.
And blows up Cadmus. He knew it was empty. They knew it was empty. They emptied out Cadmus, and then boom, blew up Cadmus. And everybody's like, well, the Justice League never should have had the space laser to begin with, da-da-da-da-da. And there's no proof that anybody else did it other than the Justice League because all of a sudden a giant space laser came out of the sky. We didn't even know they had a space laser. And the core members of the League decide that they're going to turn themselves in until their names are cleared. Until they say, okay, the Justice League wasn't at fault. They turn themselves in and are like, yeah, until due process is done, we need to be behind bars. And they call Batman, and he's like, if you want to clear your name, do it yourself. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. And they're all like, well, we voted, and, you've been outvoted. We all have to turn ourselves in. And he's like, I'm a part-time member, and just hangs up.
Yes.
I'm not a full member of the Justice League. I'm a part-timer, remember? And just hangs up.
My last great example for what I love about Batman, the comic is called Batman Off-World, and the entire thing is just Batman learning to beat up aliens. He's in Gotham doing his thing. This thug is trying to steal something, and Batman's about to beat him up, and then an alien shows up it was hired by this thug, and the alien shows up and is able to beat Batman. And Batman's like, this can never happen again. And so he tracks down where the alien came from, and he goes to the ship he comes from, and he infiltrates the space station, and the big boss shows up, and he knocks Bruce out in 2 or 3 hits. And the line was something along the lines of, Bruce lost consciousness after the second hit, but when he woke up, he knew that he was hit more times after that because of how he felt. I was like, oh, but then he just spends the whole story just learning how the fighting ways of all these different kinds of aliens, and he hunts down this guy who enslaves people. The boss enslaves warriors, finds armies, subdues them, takes them under his ranks, and forces them into slavery, and they invade things for him, and Batman dissolves the entire thing in a matter of months. And then he returns back to Gotham as a better Batman, more suited to protect anything that can be a threat to Gotham. That was the entire thing in his brain. He said, if aliens are a threat to Gotham now, I guess I have to learn how to beat aliens. I'm like, this is why you're the greatest character ever.
There's one more really good example, too, of Batman standing his own.
I'll give it to you.
There's one more really good one.
Go on.
And it's from Justice League. So Batman just took a bullet for Superman for whatever reason. I don't remember it's been a while since I watched the episode, but he takes a bullet for Superman. And they're talking about oh, well, they're talking about the Justice Lords and everything, and like joking about contingency plans, and Wonder Woman standing there and Superman's there. He's like, well, you know what? If we ever go bad, like if I ever go bad, you have that kryptonite that you keep for me in the Batcave. And Batman literally looks at him deadpan and goes, "You don't get to joke because I just took a bullet for you. You
Well,
don't seem to understand that we need to be controlled."
somebody has to have a leash on us. Sir, sorry, I'm very, I'm very thankful for your time today to just appreciate
Just
Batman.
give some loving to Batman. That's all.
All right. Well, Adam, thank you for being here today.
Always here. I'm always around.
We'll catch you later, and me later, us later, because we're Batman. I'm Batman. You're Batman.
I'm Superman.
Fair enough.